Hello there, welcome back. Welcome back to the ninth session on Oracle architectural journey. So it's going to be a session from Oracle portal. Let me share the screen. So we have been doing this practical, I think, in the previous session, you can remember. We just checked the addresses, I think, session address, process address. We ran this command, remember, select process address program from Windows session, and we match this address to the address ADDR that is under video process. Yes. So the first thing is the process address on visualization, and we match this one to the address of video process. So that's we did on last session. And yeah, so let's continue more into that practical. So this is that is just to give an idea about how these connections sessions are handling these process addresses, because normally each session, actually each connection, the connection and session are two different things. Each connection will have its own address from the database side as well as on the operating system side. And within that address, sessions are going to get created. So per connection, there can be multiple sessions. So let's see those things practically. Let me just open up the presentation. Yes, so this is what we did on yesterday with the previous session actually. Yeah, now we have covered these and memory structures. Yeah. Yes, so this is what we did on previous session. Yeah, this we did this one practical, and you understood the connection information and the server process it creates, a client process it creates, server and a client each it has different process IDs. We watched those things. So let's continue. Client process. We are on the way to understand the process aggregate Oracle database. So in client process, let's continue this now, a database connection. So that's what I just mentioned. Database connection is a physical communication pathway between a client process and the database instance. So physical connection pathway, because that's established the link actually, the network connection between the client and the database. The other thing is session. A database session is a logical entity in a database instance memory that represents the state of the current user login to a database. So that's the difference. So session is one thing, connection is another. For session to exist, there must be a connection. For a connection, there can be one or more sessions. So those things we need to understand. As soon as you establish a session, that doesn't say it's going to create a new connection, or even the other way around. So a database connection is a logical entity. It's not a physical, it's a logical entity in the database instance memory that represents the status of the current user login to a database. Because when you connect to the database, within the connection, now let's say you are going to log in as HR, you type HR, username, password, whatever, and you say add sign and you give the hosting. So this will establish a session within a connection. If that is the very first session, it will create a connection as well. So it all depends on the way that you are connecting to the database, the connection and the session. So let's try to understand this one in practically. Now, this is the theory of connection and session. So that's why we need this connection pooling and all. Let's understand those things later. So let's try to do a practical. Now I'm going back to SQL developer. Okay, let me just disconnect. I think I have connected here. Okay, let me just right click and disconnect. So let's verify on the database side as well. What are the connections I'm having at the moment? So at the moment, I am having only one connection. If you can see here, there is a connection on from SQL plus and is local no. I think that is this connection. I have this connection now. If I exit from there as well, let's see. Yeah, now you see nothing. Now it's just nothing, no connections. Now this is all a background process, server processes for background processes. These all are background. You can see pmon and db writer, system monitor, and those things are there. Okay, now let me just re-establish this connection. I think I am connecting using a service. So that's why earlier I said the local no. That doesn't matter. We'll just make that connection. And now I will see that connection here. Yes, now you can see local no. Now for this connection, there is a particular, now you can see here a process ID. For the server process, there's ID. Now this is the client process ID. So this is the client process ID and this is the server process ID. And I think in the last day, okay, let's get back to that one. We ran a query, right? You may remember this query. Let's run that query so that we can get the details. This query will give you the output. Yes, now you can see. So this is the dedicated server 925. So I have 925, that is the server process, and I have 923. So this is the client process. So those two process IDs are there. Other than that, for this connection, there is a particular process address. So to get that one only, in the last session, we ran this command. You may remember, we ran this, I think, this one, select process address from VDOLA session. We can check this one. Yes, this one. This is the address. Actually, we can get the entire information. I think that was there from, if you get these things rather than just type in small commands here from SQL developer itself, we can take it. So, but I think from in here also I had that command. Let's say select shadow process ID program from yeah, this one. Yes, but this is given from video process. Okay, let's get to SQL developer and very easily we'll be able to get this. Now the process address for this connection is this one 288. It should be. This is for the which one? The SQL connection. I just made a connection here. No, I'm using the service name. So let's go to SQL developer and let me open up a connection. Now I am opening up a connection. So now it creates a connection. I have a connection here. It's create a session and create a connection and a session as well. Within this connection, now I am having one session. So if I go back here on behalf of that connection also, you will see a new entry in this place. You can check that. Now you can see again, there's another entry came up. Why is that? Because that is for SQL developer connection. And if I repeat this command here, I will be able to see that one as well. SQL developer should be here. I think I am taking, yes, you can see SQL developer is here. Now this process address is for that connection SQL developer is making, and this process address for my SQL connection. So we have two process addresses now. This is for SQL developer connection and this is for SQL connection. Let's confirm those things from here also. We can just very simply, we can just type a select star from a command. Select star from video session. Yeah, it's very simple. You can just run this command. I just got all the fields so that Yes, now you will see the session address. So its address is there from middle session. And if I go right side, I should be able to see the program. Yeah, there is the program column. There's a column called program. If I go right slowly, yeah, here we have program. So these all are background process. You can see if I go down, here I have SQL developer. That is for this connection itself. So I have connected now. So what is that is line number 28. So if I go to line number 28 on left hand side, so you will have the address, this one. This is the address, ED8. And so let's check the address here. You can see this is SQL developer, and let's check the connection. I have a CF8. That is another let's check. This is I am checking from process address, but this should be equal to which one? Session address, no? Not the session address. Process address. Don't get confused. So process address, P address. Session address is something else. P address. In visualization, we should get the process address, P address. So I think the command also getting this is for the session. We need to get the process address, not the session address, process address. So I think we are checking here also in our example. We are taking the P address. You can see from visualization. Yes, P address. So P address here for SQL developer, ECF8, and here also you can see ECF8. So that is for that connection. So I have a unique address there, and I can check VDLR processor also, and I can get the address ADDR column from here, and select start from VDLR. Okay, let's run that one. Start from VDLR process. There's a column called address. This one. I should see that CF8. Actually, these all this is pseudo column is that is for a disconnection. It's the screen that is for sys actually, sys TBA connect. That's okay. We'll understand it later. And here you have CF8. These all our background process, the local domain, because here the program name doesn't reflect the actual name. It says it's a connection from local domain. So this is the process ECF8, same process which was here and which was here. Okay, now you got the idea that each connection is assigned a unique process address, P address, in the operating system side. And in the meantime, it will establish a session. So therefore, session will have this one, P address, and video process, we can get the address, it will give the same thing. Okay, now let's do something like this. Now you got to know that how the address and the connections, I mean the server IDs, process IDs, and the address taking place. Now, in SQL developer, we can do something like this. Now I have this one also. Now let me close this. That's okay. Now we have only this session. Let's check anything happened in the backend. I just closed one connection. I don't think that was anyway, that was an old connection. Let's check. Now I have two connections. This is one for SQL Plus, the second one for SQL developer. So let's query back again. Yeah, nothing happened. Still my two connections are there, and two sessions, one SQL session, one SQL developer session. Now in SQL developer, let me do something like this. This is all of you have to know this one, but we need to understand what's happening in the backend. As a DBA, we need to understand. I'm going to open up a new worksheet. This command, opening a new worksheet. So actually our understanding is what it opens up a new session, right? And yeah, now it came up with this yellow indication here we have, but let me just do something like this. Initially we need to understand this one. Let's untick it. Let me explain what I did. Okay, now I wanted to create a new SQL worksheet. So now is normal. Now what happened? No yellow button, yellow indication, just a connection. Is it a connection? No, we need to use the words properly. This is a session. This is a session which shares the same connection. Within this connection, I have opened up another session. And on the back end, if you go and see, it won't do anything on behalf of this. But I think something went wrong there. Local, no, it opened up a new session that is for the, I think for the previous one. I unchecked it. No? Okay. Okay, let's do this. Right, let's clear it off. Okay, let's clear it off. Let's close this one. I'm going to close the whole thing, right? And closing the whole thing should clear everything. No, okay, that's another practical. No? Let's check it. All gone. Now nothing. No. What is only available is the SQL plus connection. That is here. That is my connection here. That is the only thing. Okay, now I am going to open my SQL developer in Windows. Let me open SQL developer in Windows. Okay, so this is a fairly old version, I guess. That doesn't matter. For this one, is fine. You have the new versions. I also have it. I'm just taking this new version. That's okay. For the demonstration, that is fine. Okay, so we have what is this version? Help about. It's yeah, it's something old. Doesn't matter. It's okay. And now I'm going to open up this. Okay, a connection is there, a session open. So if I go back here and check, we get the server process and the client process created on behalf of that. Got it? Right. Now what I'm going to do, right click here, open up a new worksheet, new SQL worksheet. You see, this is my old one, a new one came. But if I go back here and check on behalf of that action, nothing takes place here. That's what I want to demonstrate earlier. See, does it make a new session here? No. Does it make a new connection here? No. So this is what earlier, I mean, we had this SQL plus was there, and this is my connection which I made earlier for this one. So what's happening here actually, it is sharing the existing connection and it just create a duplicate shared session. That is what's going to happen. So as a result, on the back end, you don't have a separate client process. You don't have a separate server process. I mean, client ID and a server ID is not getting created there. Process ID is not getting. Client process ID, server process ID not getting created there. So those things are something very important to understand. So, but you can run commands, no problem. Here you can run one command and here you can run another command. But remember, it is just sharing a session within a one connection. You're going to have two sessions, but for the SQL developer level only, even in the backend, we don't have any related information. So if you run one command here, till it ends, this command will hang actually. It won't run parallel in that way. That's why you have understood, you experience, you have it. Many, you can share many connections, you can create many sessions, many SQL worksheets, but those things are not going to run in parallel. Means it will run one after another because you share the same session. Share the same session within the same connection. Somebody can say it is sharing the same connection. That is also true, but It won't create a new session just because you right click and open up a new SQL worksheet. That won't happen by default. Now, if you want that thing to happen, what you can do, you can go to Tools, Preferences, and under Database, you have Worksheet. There's option New Worksheet to use Unshared Connection. New worksheet use unshared connection. So this is like creating a new connection, right? So tick this one and say OK. Now right click in the same connection and say open up a SQL worksheet. So now you see the difference between these two windows. This is just the green color, original color, but here you can see there's a yellow indication. The reason is it is not sharing this connection. It is a new dedicated connection with a session. New dedicated connection with a session. As a result, on the back end, you will notice a new entry comes like this. See, it came. Earlier there was only two, a new one. If you try to now thereafter, if you try to open another one, it will continue the same rhythm. It will open up new connections as well as new sessions. So as a result, here we will have this one. And not only this, not only the IDs it will create separate addresses as well. We can repeat the command and see. So now you will notice I am going to have another SQL developer. And if you go up, you can have, we will see I have now 3 SQL developers are running in different addresses. DF8, 2F8, and this is another address. So here, even though F8 is same, you have D and two different addresses. And if you go down here, you're going to have, this is a different address, DD8. So that is what's going to happen. So those are having separate process space for them, because each connection is owning a separate process address. Within the connection, you can have sessions, connection pooling. Okay, so that is something I just want to demonstrate for you to understand. And let me check. I think I had this is and I have a new SQL developer version here. Let me open it up. This should be 20.12. Yeah, one of the latest. So let's do the same from latest version as well. There's no difference. Same behavior will be there. Just check it. It opened. And in the back end, I have this, yeah, so at the moment, there cannot be only one, cannot be any connection except my SQL connections. Yeah, this is there. And all other SQL developer connections has been gone now. So yes, the new one is loading. Right, so that's the new version. This is, yeah, 21.2. So let's do the same thing, and let me open up a connection first of all. The password, yeah. I'm connecting to the same database. Close this welcome page. Okay, got it connected, and if I check it here now, the new connection information should be here. This is SQL Plus. If you go up, yeah, we have this one. This is the connection on behalf of that SQL developer. So we have one connection and one session there. And now if I right click here and open up, let's check that option. I don't think it is enabled. Let's check it. Not there. Under tools, preferences. Option is database, utilities, SQL worksheet. Yeah, the option new worksheet to use unshared connection, that is not enabled at the moment. So let me just open a new worksheet here, right click and open SQL worksheet. Yeah, so this is the old one and this is the new one. So it won't make any difference on the back end. Let's check it. Yeah, so any new SQL initialization. This was the old one. And Yeah, now let's enable this option, preferences, and let's say new SQL worksheet to use unshared connection, meaning a new connection will always take place whenever I'm opening a new SQL worksheet. So right click, open a new worksheet. You can see the yellow indication to say it's a new connection. Now if I test it here, now you will see if I go up, so you can see a second new connection is available. So that is what, and even if you check it here, you see several SQL developer sessions are running. And even if I open another one, now the same behavior, open a new worksheet, another new connection happen. And again, if I check it here, another one has come up. Is science a lower process ID actually? So that's why server process ID, that's why it's going up. Earlier it was coming down, but that's okay. That is because of a new version. Yes, so that is that. And for further verification, if I want, I can just run that command. Select command and see, and this is my latest connection. 3 client ID is 923 and server is 925. You can see the client ID is 925. No, it's giving, this is, let's go up. No, this is giving, this command is giving my current, this is from my stat. No, so my stat is my current session. I mean, if I run that one in SQL developer, it will come, this I can't copy this command. I'm in Windows, that's okay. And so my stats is, this is, I'm taking a build of my stat. So my stat taking my current login because this is coming from SQL developer. So anyways, you can this is a simple command, so we can run that command, but I think you can match it on the other way using select star from visualization. So you can take the ID here. You can see this command. This command is taken from process. It takes the address from video process and it takes the P address from visualization. And again, it's matching the SID, which is retrieved from my stat. Let's check it. Let me just, okay, let me just share that command to the other end. The command and let's save it on developer SQL1 or something. Let's give the name SQL1. Okay, so let's try to access from Windows because SQL developer is running on Windows. That share is, let's check for SW. Should be a document called SQL1. This should be that. Let me open Will be open from Notepad. It's just a text document. So this is the command. So you can just run it on this side, SQL development. Yeah, so it gives the latest for this session 2432 7344. So that I think this is the last session on other side. You can see last session 2432. Yeah, that is the connection. Another one is says client ID is 7344 as the client process. This is 2432 is the server ID. 2432, this is the server ID, and should have that client process as well. This is the no, this is the database side. No, yeah, that's right. So I'm checking on the database. This is my database side, and the client process takes place on the SQL developer side. So because this is a client tool itself, so this ID is here within this from the in the client side, and not in the database side. And 2432 anyway, that is correct. Dedicated server, and that is fine. So we have it here. 2432 is there. That is the last connection it made. That is fine. That is the server, and the client ID we won't be able to check it here because it is SQL developer itself maintaining that one as the client process ID, and we can check it from here because client PID is taken from visualization. We can check it because d dot process ID. Yes. From yeah. Yeah, we can check that one VDOLA from VDOLA session. Yeah, from here you should be able to get it. Let's check it on the VDOLA session. Okay. Let's select it from here. Select start from VDOLA session. Should have a column called process. A lot of columns in VDOLA session. Anyway, it's better to say select process. Process from yeah. So here we go. We have yes. So 3267 there was a number called 7344. So 7344. Yeah, we can order it. Here we have 7344. This is what process. So that is for this particular session. So that is what is given here. 7344 in the client end. But on this end, we see the database server ID. That's what. And for this connection, this is a local connection because I am connecting in the same machine. This for this SQL plus this is this connection I am using as a local connection. So why it says local? No, because I am using that @ sign to connect. Other than that, I am using the same machine. That's why I can see the see, I am using @ sign and using a service. Therefore, it will connect as remote connection. But anyway, this is in the same machine, so I am able to see both the client and the server ID here. But when it's come to SQL developer, this is I am connecting from my host OS actually is a different IP. So therefore, this particular client process takes place in that end. So I can get it from the visualization and not as a process which is coming under this particular database server. So that is not visible here because we know the client process takes place on the client's user client side, or client process or the user process takes place on the user end, and the server process takes place on the server end, which is where the instance is running. All right, I think you got the idea. So I'll come up with the next session soon. Okay, have a great time. Bye bye.